Welcome, my little couch potatoes, to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm your host, Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. So grab your snuggiest blanket, some delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama, After Dark. Hello, my little couch potatoes. Hello, welcome to Couch Court with Llama After Dark. Now, you guys, we're now into week 4 of the USA versus Sean Diddy Combs trial, and there are no cameras or audio allowed, but every news network around the world is there. Now, tonight, we're going to go through the updates provided by the Washington Post, whose updates we've been using a lot recently, and their amazing team of journalists who are inside of the courtroom. If you haven't yet, please like this video to appease the YouTube gods, and be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop another episode. Now, what you guys really came here for. So spectators and reporters are filing into the courthouse for the 16th day of the Sean Combs trial. We are approaching the halfway mark in a trial expected to last 2 months, and local public interest remains strong. Drivers slow down when passing the courthouse, craning their necks out of the window of their cars to catch a glimpse of the cameras and maybe even a celebrity, which is kind of funny because they're in New York, but okay. In a high-profile trial, nearly every piece of evidence and testimony is hashed out by the judge and lawyers before the jury sees it. We see this all the time in Karen Reed's trial, as well as many other trials. And that's what's happening Wednesday before testimony kicks off. Now, Sean Combs' lawyers want to send a letter to the judge that the prosecution wouldn't be able to read. Ooh, that's interesting and weird, but okay. The defense wants to communicate with him directly about evidence that the prosecutors could use to undermine Combs, but the judge won't allow it. That's interesting. Okay. Interesting. All right. So, first person on the stand is Brianna Bongolan. That's a fun name. She was sworn in, and she won't be testifying immediately because she has invoked her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination while on the stand and needs to wait for the judge to grant an order of immunity in exchange for honest testimony. Interesting. I wonder what she's asking for immunity for. Bongolan is a friend of star prosecution witness Cassie Ventura and has claimed that an enraged Sean Combs once dingled her off a high-rise balcony. Her testimony is expected to include amounts of illicit drug use. Okay, this makes sense. We did hear about Brianna when Cassie testified in this incident here, and okay, the immunity is because she did drugs and doesn't want to get in trouble. Okay. Now, this is at least the third government witness to get immunity for their testimony. The others were George Kaplan, a former personal assistant to Combs, who talked about witnessing physical violence and fetching drugs for his employer, and Eddie Garcia, a security worker who accepted $100,000 in cash for surveillance footage showing Combs beating Ventura in 2016. A forensic audio and video editor named Frank Piazza, yes, that's his name, spelled like pizza, but with an extra A, is on the stand, expected to testify to the validity of security camera footage that shows Sean Combs attacking Cassie in an Intercontinental Hotel hallway in 2016. The parties have debated the scope and format of the video evidence, which is key to the prosecution's case that Combs trafficked people for sex. Testimony from a security guard yesterday alleged that Combs went to great lengths to erase copies of the video, paying the guard and his co-workers $100,000 in cash to hand over the only copy. I don't know if it was the only copy, but I'm going to go with it wasn't. Frank Piazza analyzed the Intercontinental Assault video for the government, as well as videos of Sean Combs' freak-offs obtained by federal investigators. Piazza, as an expert in video forensic, is being paid $295 an hour for his testimony, which is cheap, by the way. That is cheap for an expert testimony. And if you happen to work at Aperture, you can charge the Commonwealth $400,000 for garbage. But whatever. So he's making $295 an hour for his testimony. That's much less than the $600 an hour another expert witness, forensic psychologist Dawn Hughes, was paid for her time on the stand earlier in the trial. You see that that seems like a lot of money, but that's pretty standard for certain experts. Makes Karen Reed trial all the more interesting, doesn't it? Piazza said the video he worked on was a cell phone recording of original security footage and had been sped up due to how it was exported. This is common, Piazza testified, and did not indicate any tampering with the video. The forensic specialist said he restored the video to its original speed, but was not able to correct distortions and motion blurs. He testified that no one had doctored the video, which ties into the defense team's claim that CNN aired a doctored version of the video that leaked last year. Now, the surveillance footage showing Sean Combs attacking Cassie has some pixelation issues, including when Ventura bends over to put on a shoe in front of an elevator bank, and moments later when Combs grabs her and throws her to the ground. The pixelation does not indicate the video has been doctored, forensic video expert Frank Piazza said to the jury, but results from issues with a corrupted video stream at the hotel where it was captured. So it's a problem with the hotel security cams. Okay. Establishing the authenticity of the video showing Sean Combs beat Cassie at the hotel is important for evidentiary reasons. But there is another effect at play in forensic expert Frank Piazza's testimony. As Piazza answers questions, the video is being played over and over again in front of the jury. And oh boy, have they seen this? Who knows how many times they've seen this video already. It's not the first time they've seen the video, but at the moment they are watching frame by frame replays of the brutal assault. Oh gosh, that had to be a rough morning. Sean Combs' defense lawyers have questioned Frank Piazza for roughly 45 minutes concerning the video that shows Combs attacking Cassie. It's unclear how effective this tactic has been. They have asked the forensic witness incredibly detailed questions, ranging from pixelation on the video to asking him to narrate frame by frame sequences. They haven't contested anything Piazza has said, who is a government witness. Instead, the video is being played multiple times in front of the jury. The intended effect could be that the jurors wind up desensitized, or this could backfire and sear the images of Combs attacking Ventura into their collective memories. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I'm sure after the 100 times you see it may not be as shocking, but it would stick. It would stick with me, and I can't even picture things in my own brain. So, okay. The government has called its next witness, Brianna Bongolian, a creative and marketing director who is a close friend of Cassie Ventura's. Now, Bongolian has claimed that an enraged Sean Combs dangled her off a 17th floor balcony in Ventura's presence, and her testimony has been somewhat anticipated. I would say so. That's terrifying. Brianna Bongolian is testifying that she became friends with Cassie around 2014 when they designed clothes together at an LA streetwear company. Bongolian said that she avoided meeting Ventura's boyfriend, Sean Combs, for over a year because she considered the couple's relationship volatile. Oof, could say so. At one point, Ventura showed up with a black eye, Bongolian testified. Earlier Wednesday, while the jury was out of the courtroom, prosecutors introduced evidence that included text messages between Combs and his bodyguard, D-Rock, discussing a black eye and an ice pack. And a prosecutor suggested it could be the same incident. Now, to recap events before Brianna Bongolian took the stand, okay? So over and over this morning, the jury watched 2016 footage from the 6th floor elevator bank at the Intercontinental Hotel when Sean Combs attacked his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. A couple days after the beating, Combs paid 3 security staffers working at the hotel for what they believed was the video's only copy. But another security worker at the hotel, Israel Flores, had recorded a copy of the security footage. Flores did this so he could prove to his wife what had happened. He testified to that earlier in the trial. If I would have told my wife, hey, this is what happened, she wouldn't have believed me, he said. Okay, so we're back to Brianna Bungolian on the stand. She said her and Cassie often did drugs together, primarily marijuana, cocaine, and ketamine. Combs also gave her drugs 3 or 4 times, she said, including GHB and ketamine. GHB is also better known as the date rape drug, by the way. Bungolian admitted she sold drugs to others, but not often, hence why she's getting immunity, it seems. The witness has had a flat effect on the stand, speaking in a low, monotone voice and giving short answers. She has smiled once when she explained her and Ventura's failed attempts to quit using. We would try to cook, she said, but it's hard to get sober if there's a lot of drugs around. That's true. There haven't been many days when the court didn't have side issues to discuss before the lunch recess, and today is one of those days. So, Sean Combs' attorneys have repeatedly referenced the Metropolitan Detention Center, the federal jail where he lives between trial sessions, saying the conditions there are hindering their ability to prepare his defense, as is pretty much everyone else who's in jail across the country. But sure, sound off, Diddy, sound off. Combs is hardly the first high-profile resident of the Brooklyn lockup. Oh yeah, let's learn who all's been there. Last September, he was cellmates with Sam Bankman-Fried. What? He was cellmates with Sam? Okay, that's a whole nother, I won't even get into that con guy. The fallen crypto king, who was convicted in the same courthouse on fraud and money laundering charges. I'm pretty sure those got pardoned, but whatever. Anyway, and oh God, this guy, Martin Shkreli, oh, he's the worst. Dubbed Pharma Bro, you guys know him, for jacking up the price of a life-saving drug by 5,000%. Also spent time at the jail after he violated the terms of his bail by threatening Hillary Clinton. Keith Raniere, I'm sure many of us know who that guy is, a leader of the sex cult Nexium, was held at the facility while he was on trial, as was Ghislaine Maxwell, who trafficked young women for the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. And R. Kelly, the R&B artist convicted of sex trafficking, sued the Brooklyn jail for $100 million, claiming they improperly held him in solitary confinement while he was on suicide watch. They have like a celebrity dorm at this jail. That is quite a few high-profile people. So the defense argues the jail limited Sean Combs' phone calls and the visiting hours there are insufficient to prepare him for trial. Now, the judge has cast doubt on the claims after speaking with the jail authorities, but he has allowed Combs to arrive at the court early and stay late under the supervision of U.S. Marshals. The jury had to briefly return to the jury room after lunch while the attorneys worked on some wiring problems with their monitors. The judge joked that it was good to see the prosecution and defense working together. Scoff. So funny, Judge. Brianna Bungolian is back on the stand, ready to continue testifying under a subpoena as soon as the court works through some technical difficulties with the monitors. The government wants Bungolian to corroborate details of star witness Cassie Ventura's testimony and to help establish that force and violence were endemic to Combs' world. The defense plans to argue that some events Bungolian detailed didn't happen. Bungolian, who has her own pending lawsuit against Combs, is wearing a long plaid blazer and black pants. Her sleeves are rolled up, displaying her tattooed forearms. Her long bleached hair is curled and parted down the middle. We've come to perhaps the most anticipated part of Brianna Bongolin's testimony, the day in 2016 referenced in her lawsuit against Sean Combs when she says he dangled her over a high-rise balcony. She told the jury she and her girlfriend were staying at her close friend Cassie Ventura's 17th floor condo in Los Angeles, sleeping on Ventura's couch when they heard Sean Combs banging on the door. Bongolin jumped up and instructed her girlfriend to hide in the bathroom, holding her finger to her lips to indicate she should keep quiet. Oh, wow. When asked why she hid her girlfriend, Bongolin responded, "I didn't want to expose her to the things that I see." Oof. After hiding her ex-girlfriend in the bathroom of Cassie Ventura's apartment, Brianna Bongolin testified she walked out to the 17th story balcony and tried to act casual as Sean Combs entered the unit. The witness said Combs grabbed her from behind anyway, lifted me up, and then put me on top of the rail. "I was trying not to slip," she said. "Oh boy, my palms got all sweaty just thinking about it. I am afraid of heights, and oh boy, that would be terrifying." Asked how long Combs held her over the railing, Bongolin recalled the words he yelled at her. "You know what the fuck you did," she said in a staccato voice, sounding each syllable out. If you repeat the words over and over, it was about 15 seconds, which doesn't seem long, but that's enough for you to fall over on the balcony. So that's a pretty scary 15 minutes in my book. The jury is looking at graphic photos, bandages, and a neck brace, and a baseball-sized bruise with a puncture wound in the middle of it. Oh my gosh. Brianna Bongolin testified Sean Combs gave her these injuries when he dangled her over a high-rise balcony railing, then threw her into the patio furniture. Wow. While photos of Brianna Bongolin's injuries were being shown to the court, Sean Combs leaned over to his attorney, Tina Garagos, and peered into a monitor displaying the images. Garagos's hands were steepled in front of her face as Combs spoke to her. Combs, who had been leaning back in his chair and listening intently to Bongolin's testimony, briefly motioned towards the monitor again when another image came up of Bongolin's bandaged back. He spoke to his lawyer as Bongolin described her efforts to get sober and testified that certain details of the balcony incident in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit against Combs were incorrect. The government attempted to ask Brianna Bongolin about an alleged settlement offer between herself and Sean Combs over the alleged balcony incident. That questioning went nowhere, as after a lengthy sidebar, the judge sustained the defense's objections. Bongolin said she's seeking $10 million in damages in her lawsuit against Combs, a number she said was suggested by her lawyer. Now, Bongolin testified that she is seeking the $10 million in damages in a separate lawsuit because I wanted to seek justice for what happened to me on the balcony. That suit was filed late last year in Los Angeles State Supreme Court. You can read about it in dozens of other lawsuits against Combs all over the place. They're everywhere. They're very easy to find, and some of them are, well, tough reads on some of those. As a matter of fact, the Washington Post has a lawsuit tracker on their website. You can go there and look for them. Bongolin is now being cross-examined by defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland, who started on a heavy note, speaking forcefully into the microphone. Who gets to decide if you have lied? I like how I did that. Nicole Westmoreland was a late addition to Sean Combs' sprawling defense team, which includes at least 8 attorneys. She's cross-examined just one witness before now, Danity Kane singer Dawn Richard on May 19th. Now, Nicole Westmoreland's voice is thundering through the microphone as she cross-examines Bongolin, a very different tactic from other defense attorneys who were generally deferential when questioning their clients' alleged victims. Westmoreland immediately characterized Bongolin's testimony about Combs' attack on her as suspect and has spent 15 minutes asking the witness to detail drugs she took with Cassie. Bongolin has listed ecstasy, Molly, GHB, cannabis, various types of pills, and a blunt sprinkled with cocaine she called a Cocoa Puff, which was Ventura's favorite. She said she supplied Ventura with drugs on multiple occasions and introduced her to dealers. Cassie Ventura discussed her pending lawsuit against Sean Combs with her friend Brianna Bongolin. The latter testified on cross-examination. Bongolin said Ventura asked for permission to name her in the suit, and Bongolin told her no. Now, the suit mentions Combs dangling a friend over Ventura's over a 17-story balcony, but does not name the friend, which is kind of Cassie to not name drop her in this suit. Bongolin also sued Combs herself, a matter she said she tried to keep private from her friends. Defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland kept pressing the witness, asking questions that suggested Bongolin and Ventura didn't just compare notes on their memories of the balcony incident, but made details up. It has been standard procedure for the defense lawyers to compare witness testimonies on the stand to what they said in previous meetings with government investigators, looking for contradictions. Pretty standard. Notes are generally taken at these meetings, though, as we've seen in this trial, witnesses will sometimes say those notes don't accurately capture what they said. We've heard that numerous times in the Karen Reed trial. As a matter of fact, for most of them, nobody took any notes ever, which is very weird. Anyway, different case. So, defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland is using this strategy with Bongolin, bluntly suggesting that the witness is being dishonest about certain holes in her testimony about being dangled off a high-rise balcony and thrown into furniture by Sean Combs. Bongolin, who was using drugs heavily at the time, has said repeatedly that she doesn't remember some key details, including her allegation earlier today that Combs threw a knife at Cassie Ventura in a separate incident. The defense hasn't offered anything directly contradicting Bongolin's testimony, but appears to be exploiting these gaps to paint a picture of a dishonest witness. I don't know how it happened. I just saw what I saw, Bongolin said of the knife incident. You really don't remember this incident, true? Westmoreland countered. The defense team told the judge they want to demonstrate that Sean Combs was concerned about Cassie Ventura's drug use with her friend, Brianna Bongolin. This is similar to an argument the defense made about Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, earlier in this trial, when they suggested Combs was upset about her drug use with Ventura. Now, Ventura had countered that Combs was only upset she was doing drugs with people other than him. While Bongolin testified earlier today that she and Ventura frequently did drugs, a defense attorney asked if Combs ever requested her to stop giving Ventura drugs. I don't remember him saying that, the witness replied. Nicole Westmoreland is zeroing in on discrepancies in Brianna Bongolin's claims that Sean Combs dangled her off the 17th floor balcony in 2016. Bongolin testified that she was staring out into the distance when Combs charged into the apartment, but in a previous interview with the government, she said that she was looking inside from the balcony. Bongolin has often responded, "I don't remember," to Westmoreland's questions, which continued until the judge sent the jury home for the day. Now, will tomorrow bring long-awaited testimony from Jane, the pseudonymous woman at the center of the government's second sex trafficking count against Sean Combs? The government sure hopes so, but first the defense needs to wrap up their spirited cross-examination of Brianna Bongolin, who says Sean Combs dangled her over the balcony. Now, defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland estimated she needs another 45 minutes to cross-examine the witness. And then, before the government calls Jane, it wants to call a witness named Enrique Santos, who will walk jurors through the formatting of text messages that will be introduced during Jane's testimony. I am very excited to hear this. I have no idea what Jane's story is. I don't know who that is or what they have to say. So I'm very interested in hearing that. Now, during her testimony today, Bongolan said lawyer Tyrone Blackburn initially represented her in her lawsuit against Sean Combs, whom she had accused of dangling her over the balcony and attacking her. But she parted ways with the lawyer, Bongolan said, after he got details about the incident wrong in her complaint. Now, Blackburn, who has not made a comment about this, has represented multiple plaintiffs who are suing Combs in more than 70 civil sexual assault lawsuits. That's right, 70 sexual assault lawsuits. Combs has denied all the allegations, of course. He also represents Liza Gardner, who alleged in a November 2023 lawsuit that Combs and singer Aaron Hall drugged and sexually assaulted her at a New Jersey residence in 1990 when she was 16. Now, Combs has filed to dismiss this lawsuit. Blackburn has even attended Combs' trial with another one of his clients, music producer Rodney Little Rod Jones, who accused Combs of sexual assault and sex trafficking. I've read that lawsuit. It's very interesting. Jones' suit was partially dismissed, but the sexual assault and sex trafficking charges remain. He also represents April Lampros, who alleged Combs sexually assaulted her 4 times over the course of their relationship between 1995 and 2001. Combs has filed to dismiss Lapros's lawsuit as well. Now, Grace Omargay alleged Combs' son, Christian Combs, drugged and sexually assaulted her on a yacht Combs chartered. Her lawsuit was originally filed with Blackburn as one of her lawyers, but his name is no longer listed on the case. And Combs plans to file to dismiss that lawsuit as well. Now, Blackburn's most recent Combs complaint filed was for Kirk Burroughs, a Bad Boy Entertainment co-founder who alleges Combs repeatedly harassed and sexually assaulted him in the 1990s and threatened him with a baseball bat to sign away his ownership stake in the label. So that is all that has happened in court today. That kind of an interesting day, but I don't think too mind-blowing, since we kind of already knew what not Maya, that was the woman before her, Bongolan had to say was interesting. I think what I find interesting is these lawsuits we just talked about. A lot of them I haven't read. I think I've read about a handful when they started coming out last year. But these older cases that are coming out do not surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. This is a guy who I feel has been doing this for a very long time, has always felt comfortable with it, that he could get away with it, that people would be quiet, that he could bully people, harass people, threaten people. It does not surprise me that these are going way back into the early years of his career, especially if you've heard rumors about Tupac and that Diddy may have been responsible for it, for at least calling out the hit. That's the rumor, allegedly. You can go look up the guy in Vegas who is in jail for that right now and see what he's been saying. But I think he's been doing this for a very long time. You know, a lot of people seem to have a lot of dirt on him, and he didn't feel the need to cover up his tracks too much. He thought he could buy everything with money. Probably why he's not a billionaire. Anyway, back to the ending here. Couch potatoes, please leave some comments under this video letting me know what you think about what you've heard today, because I have very much enjoyed reading the commentary from you guys. We will be releasing these every night that court is in session. So if you've enjoyed our coverage, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode. And if you have social media, please share with your friends on social media and be like, have you heard this Diddy nonsense? Because everybody should hear this. And you can also find all of our Diddy coverage in our USA versus Sean Combs Diddy playlist. Now, I will see all of you, my little couch potatoes, bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. On Couch Court with Llama, where we're going to be watching some previous trial testimony because there's no court for Karen Reed's trial. So we're going to watch some testimony from the first trial tomorrow. So come hang out with us. And until next time, everyone, go forth and be amazing. Bye, everybody.